Round 4, chess na Kiambu Open 2025. I'm playing Osundwa Ihabi. I just won 2 games the previous day. We are playing 3 games per day, 90 minutes per player, so it's quite the marathon. I won 2 games the previous day. That's yesterday, actually, 10th of May 2025, but lost the last one. So this is my first game after having lost my game prior. And I'm playing this young man who's rated 1500, but I believe thoroughly underrated. Let's get into the game. And what's going on? Yeah, there it is. Oops, sorry guys, I need to make sure you can see my board, which you can't at the moment. I think you can now. Great. So I'm playing black, he's playing white. Osundwa is a young man. This is why it's a battle of generations. It starts with the move e4. The Sicilian is typically what I play, but I think I can play a couple of moves as well. And the Alpine Sicilian has become fairly common. And the most common moves, as I've said, again by now you know these are the 2 main moves. But I play this line quite a bit because many people haven't bothered to look at the line itself. So this is a nice, fairly decent surprise. Knight f3. Bishop to g7, d4 takes, and then now e5. Many moves are possible here. You can take, you can play here, you can push. I'm not sure. Yeah, this is still a move, and I play bishop to g4. This is the move that I played. Then he played bishop to e7, which is e2, which is not the ideal move. The better move is to play check here. Knight to c6, and then he challenges me h3, which is not a good move because I want to pick here anyway. So this basically just wastes time. So now I'm forced to pick. I pick, and the bishop is off that diagonal, and I played here e6. The knight wants to come to this square and this square, but for that there is quite a surprise. And of course you can see automatically there's a move like this which threatens this pawn twice. That's why we remove this bishop, this knight, so that this pawn becomes very weak. And white prepares for it, but really there's nothing they can do. And in this position, there is a nice surprise move that once you played this line many times becomes second nature, and that is move f6, which I thought was very nice. Already black is much better. Takes, and now you can see I have 1, 2, 3 attackers on this square, even though I've not developed. So here my opponent castled, and it looks like I can pick now. Maybe I can, but generally as a principle of chess, this pawn is going nowhere. Bring your pieces into the game. You want to avoid complications with things like check. So I played here immediately, and here I think I contemplated this move, and here I would castle because I don't think I can take this pawn. I would probably play a move like this, and once you play up, then I take my pawn, and I felt this position was very nice. So that is really, well, the engine doesn't agree, but let's see here. Goes there. Okay, so what's the plan? Knight f5. So the game continues, and all of black's pieces are working together. Despite giving up that pawn, you're going to get back this pawn, or at least a pair. So after this, my opponent played castles. I think is a move. No. Is that what they played actually? Yeah, this is actually what they played. This is what they played. I still played this move, but in fact I should have picked. This is what the engine is saying. They castled, I believe, and I castled as well. And now knight c3. I brought my knight out. They brought their bishop to exchange off for this knight. Of course, there are always threats like, let's say you just play a normal move, then picks, and this guy is in a lot of trouble here. So really, the move played wasn't bad, which is after knight f5, this move. And I thought to pick with this knight so that I keep this bishop off here. I don't think that's a threat. This knight is defending as well as this bishop. White is defending only by the queen. So anyway, white picked. I picked back. Now I have an extra pawn. There's a threat here of a fork, and immediately white played bishop g5. My dark squares are a bit weak. I played queen to e2. Let me see what the best move was. I think the best move could have been, yeah, but king to f7 seems to be best. Okay, I think they're recommending this move. Yeah, because white is becoming a bit active, and this is what I didn't see any problem here. Rook to e8, and here I saw the possibility of rerouting my knight. I could bring my knight here, maybe take here at some point, bring the knight in. Of course, I don't think taking here is a good idea. I'd have thoroughly weak dark squares, but I thought maybe I could reroute this knight, bring this rook in, then have this knight. But maybe be patient, just bring either this rook to this file, either this, because there's a possible threat on this square, or this. But instead of that, I played my knight here. Now it took quite some time to think. Here I thought I was just chilling, and then all of a sudden, Ihabi and Cox knight takes d5, which is correct, and in fact, the best move. So X here is attacking my queen is fairly short of squares. I'm literally forced to play here, though there's another move that's coming up in the next move. And after g4, then he thought maybe I was going to play here, and then they take check. The idea of playing this rook out is to be able to win this, but in fact it's a lot worse, because it seems as if, is this queen lost? It's not. But after this move, 7th rank, and you can see that I'm toast. I'm literally lost in this position. So when your opponent doesn't pick a free piece and they're still better, you know that you are completely losing. So anyway, that wasn't my plan. I wanted him to play this pawn up 2 steps to weaken the opponent. Then I play this nice move here, which I thought was very nice. Turns out the engine doesn't agree fully. The move they were suggesting was what? Queen here. Interesting. Oh, I had this move and I didn't even consider it. Because now you pick. Wow. So what should be done? Rook e3. Knight c4. Psh, really? I didn't even consider it, by the way. But I thought of this move. Takes back the queen, the takes back, and then knight e4, because I'm this bishop. So my opponent played here. I picked, but here I'm already quite concerned because I saw ideas of this rook coming here, and 2 rooks on the 7th rank is not easy. It's not an easy conversation. So I thought here for quite some time, and the move that I thought would give me the best chance is maybe a move like this. And this is actually trappy play, because if, for example, my opponent plays here, then I think they're lost, because I'd play this move. I don't know where he's gonna go to. Let's say, where can he play? Let's attack this pawn, so I can illustrate, but check. You're better off playing here, and this checkmate generally cannot be stopped. That's really the whole idea. So this becomes a checkmate, and that's the first checkmate pattern that I saw. The second checkmate pattern that came up is a little bit different, which is, let's say, I'll just play a couple of moves. Not the best moves, but illustrate. I think check here. How does that go? Then I'm looking for, how did that checkmate go? There's a checkmate. Then B here. Yes, I found it. And then let's say, yeah, this check is coming here, and this checkmate. So these are other checkmates. These are the two checkmate patterns that I had sort of figured out in the game, but my opponent also had seen them, so he was a bit concerned about that possibility. So of course he didn't pick here. This would have been a very bad move. Instead he played this move, because what he wants to do is to play rook to f1. He doesn't want to do that immediately, because I'll pick, and pick this pawn. But I'm not sure that that is the best plan for me either. Nonetheless, he played this move. Sorry, he played here first to save that pawn, which wasn't necessary. Then this, and then here. And I think here I shouldn't pick. I think I'm better because I have these two pieces for a rook. But then I picked back, and I realized that I could be losing, because if black could safely take this pawn, and I can't take back, which is the current threat, maybe he moves this pawn 2 steps forward, 2 steps forward. These pawns can be very hard to stop, because my king is cut off on this rank. I can't cross over. So I had to figure out how can I create some activity. And I thought for a moment that I can force this king to come defend this pawn. And the first move I thought of playing was this. It's not a very good move. Actually, it's slightly inferior, because what you just take here and take here, I only have now these 2 pawns versus, sorry, these 3 pawns. This is gonna fall versus these 3 pawns. So this position looks likely to be a draw by all means, because this pawn is very hard to force. So I'm thinking at some point, let's say picks. Sorry, not there. Picks here, and then let's say plays a move like this. I play here, and let's say they push the pawn. I'm thinking that you can even sacrifice like this, and despite that sacrifice, you're actually not worse as you're interesting. Actually losing. That is surprising. I've seen what I mean. What you should do is go for this pawn. Does that work? I'm not sure. Defends it. Yeah, very interesting. So keep that guy tied. Very interesting play. But there's a draw here. So even worst case scenario, it can be knight versus bishop, knight versus rook, and that's not impossible. I thought I'd probably come and pick this pawn. So anyway, my plan was this, and I was sort of hoping my opponent played this move, which they did. Now check. They can see my plan, which is to bring the knight here and attack this pawn. So they come up. I bring my knight. I'm now attacking this pawn, and the king defends it, which is in fact a blunder. So here I should take my time and realize something I saw during the game, but I saw it a bit late. This is immediately I played this move, but that is incorrect, because it allows this pawn to fall. And my plan initially was that I would play here, and then when they bring the rook here, which is a blunder, I felt that I was going to play my bishop here. And now you can't stop that pawn. So let's say, what can you do? You really can't. You try and come back. I push, and you can't bring your knight back. And your king, of course, cannot touch this pawn. It's too far away. It doesn't get into the square of the pawn. So that doesn't really work. So if he comes, let's say here, I can just push, and you can't stop me. Okay, so that's what I thought would happen. But what we both missed was, in fact, after this move, then there's this move. And it's so surprising that even after this, the position is not completely lost. bishop takes b2, and they take this. But white is significantly better. They have this outside passed pawn, and it's a rook. A rook is a rook, and this king is still cut off, and maybe it will be cut off even further when the rook comes back. So my opponent fortunately missed it and played. He saw the threat, brought his rook behind the pawn. Correct principle. Knight should save my pawn, but it didn't occur to me until after this move. But now my opponent played here, which now removes the possibility that was there before. So now if I play here, which I did, if they pick, I push, they attack me again, I push again, and they come behind the pawn, and I can defend it like this. This was my plan. And after that defense, then there are moves that will, let's say, for example, save it. What was going to happen here? What was the move? I thought I was going to defend. Oh yeah, knight here, knight here, knight here. Does it work? Yeah. So plan for it. Knight to d6. Yeah, you can't pass. Knight to e4, threatening check. But that could be losing. Interesting. Wow. Were the games streamed on Liches? I'd like to go through some of them. Sometime, yes, a couple of games were streamed on Liches, Brian. Some, not all. So, yeah, anyway, this is what I had in mind. I've not looked at the whole line. Only the top boards were streamed, and some games were not. So you'll find 2 of my games today were streamed on the top boards. This one was not. So you can still find games. So anyway, my opponent played. I played this move. He played up. I'm up towards the rook, and to block that rook, played up, played here. Now they played down. And it looks like I play here and make a queen, but I didn't like this idea, which turns out is the best move because I could start coming back. Or maybe let's play where you can shoulder and already gets into the square of the pawn. So I didn't like this idea. I'm not sure whether the other winning ideas, but that was really, there may be a better way to play it. So I was going to play my bishop out and then block this with the bishop, keeping that pawn attached. Nonetheless, that's not what he played. Here, my opponent played a5. Here they played rook to c5, but this is not close because I pushed the pawn, bring back, push the pawn again. They attack my pawn. I defend it with my bishop. And here, what did they play? They played this move. They played here, after which my opponent resigned because they're losing a rook. I'll have 2 bishops. I'll have a bishop and a knight, and these people are not going anywhere really. You can't play here. I can even just pick it first before anything else. That's the rules of the greedy. So yeah, this ended up being a win, and I was quite happy and privileged.